This is Andy Tube, and this is my new to me Singer Model 99K named Cute. Correction, it's my wife's 99K now that she saw it. In this video I'm going to show how to wind a bobbin on this machine and how to thread the needle on the machine, and just do very basic sewing to show how some of the controls work. Okay, so like many Singer machines here, when you want to wind a bobbin, you should release the stop motion screw here so that you stop motion to the needle and the feed system and just run the hand wheel. So we'll just hold the hand wheel and turn the stop motion screw about 1/8 of a turn to the left, and that should allow the motor to turn the hand wheel without turning the needle or anything like that. I have not restored the machine yet or anything. It's in the condition that I bought it a while back, so it may not operate real smooth yet or anything like that, but it should get the job done. Let's take a look now. If you want to remove the bobbin, you'll open the slide plate here and you'll see the Class 66 drop-in bobbin in there. This machine has a nice feature called an ejector, where if you push this lever down and hold it, it lifts the edge of the bobbin up. I like that, and then you can pull out the bobbin. This machine would have come with this metal Class 66 bobbin like this, but you can use the plastic Class 66 bobbin in it if you like. But whichever one you choose, you'll have to be sure that it has this small hole in the side of the bobbin near to the spindle hole. These bigger holes are supposed to be so you can see how much thread you have left on the bobbin, but you need that little hole. And the plastic Class 66 will have the little holes. It won't have the big holes because you can see right through the plastic to how much thread. So I'm actually going to use the plastic bobbin here so you can see the thread wind on it. And the reason that you need that little hole is because this bobbin winder spindle doesn't have a spring or tension wire on it. So what lets the spindle turn the bobbin to wind it is that there is a small pin right there. You can see that right there, that little pin, and you have to line up the hole in the bobbin with that pin, and if you don't, it doesn't go on and you can't lower the latch. But when you do slide the hole onto that pin, then when you lower the bobbin winder, the latch is going to go in there, and now when you run the motor, it can do its function without letting the bobbin fly off. Okay, the newer machines like 301, 401, 500 Rocketeers that I've done in the past, and some others, they have a little tension wire on the spindle to prevent it from falling off. So that was a new deal to me. The oil port for the bobbin winder spindle is right there, right up top. So I just put a little drop of oil in there because it has been a while since this machine was worked. Then I'm going to take my thread that I want to put on the bobbin. I'm going to put it up here on the spool pin, and I'm going to run it straight over to this top thread guide. It's just a strong piece of wire coming out and going up at a 90-degree angle. Okay, and it just goes right through there like that. Then I'm going to come down at a 45-degree angle, and this is a little bobbin winder thread bracket. Now it doesn't have a tension spring system to keep a little bit of tension on the thread as you're winding the bobbin, and from what I can see of the manual, you bring from the front of it across the front and through the bottom notch there, and then it says to go up to the bobbin. And I just don't know if that's going to put enough tension on it. I haven't tried this either way, but there's another notch up here, and I think the thread's supposed to come from the back and out the front of it and then up to the bobbin, and that will keep just a little bit of a tension on this thread, which is desirable when you wind a bobbin. So can you see that? I've come from the front to the back, and then from the back to the front of the top notch. I think I'll take some close-up pictures and insert these. Whichever way you want to do that, then I'm going to turn this wheel so that the little hole on the other side, the left side, is where I can see it, because you want to put the thread in there from between the two sides and out. So let's see if I can fish that little thread through there. Maybe I should have put my reading glasses on, huh? Alright, inside, out the left. So you see how that's working now, right? Okay, take up my slack, push this back so you can see the whole operation here. So I have my thread bracket for the winder, and I have my bobbin on there and the thread coming out the left. Now they say hang on to that thread until it breaks off while you're winding it. There it goes. And then you can see that thread going back and left to right, and back. Now, I'm not going to wind the whole bobbin, but the thing with this latch is that when it gets full, the thread will push that latch away from the bobbin, and then the spring in the bobbin winder system will kick the friction ring away from the hand wheel, and it will stop winding. So that's what that's for. If you want to wind a bobbin full and have an automatic stop, if you want to wind half full or whatever amount you want, like me, let me wind a little more maybe. Okay, then I'm just going to push the latch up gently with my finger, and then it popped this out, popped it away from the tire. You see that? Maybe if I did it from this side. There we go. Then I'll cut and leave about 3 inches on that spool, and then I can take the spool off, and I'll put the spool back into the machine and thread the bobbin case. So I have a pointer here. So the bobbin case has 2 little slots in it right here. This is what we're going to call the front slot, and this is the back slot. And between the bobbin case and the on the outside here, you see two little screws, and they're holding the bobbin case tension spring. So the idea is the thread's going to slip into this front slot here and go between the case and the spring, and then come out and lay across that second slot there. And that's to put tension on the bobbin thread. So you need tension on the needle thread and tension on the bobbin thread to make a balanced lock stitch. When you drop the bobbin in, the thread has to be coming off the left side over the top and to the left. So we'll drop that bobbin in, and then we'll come and put the thread into the first notch, and then we'll pull it back and then lay it out of the second notch, and we'll close the slide cover. You see that nice big opening they give you? You see that right there? To bring the thread out. Okay? Just like that. So our bobbin's ready to go. What we need to do now is wind or thread the machine for the needle thread up on the top. Now we've already got our thread on the spool. You could put a different color, of course, but you put your thread on the spool, and you come over to this, the same wire thread guide, except now we're going to go straight down to get it through the tension system. And to release pressure on the tension discs in here so that we can get the thread between them, we lift the presser foot. That mechanism inside opens the pressure, or releases the pressure on the tension disc, so that we can slide this thread between the two discs. Okay. Then we're going to bring it up past the center point, because that's where the end of this little take-up spring, often called the check spring, in this model, it's not a closed loop. It comes, makes a loop, and then has a long tail up to here. And we've got to get the thread around that tail and into the loop. So when you take the thread between the tension discs, just keep bringing it around from the right to the left past that point, and it'll pop into the center, and then when you bring it down, it'll be in that take-up spring loop, just like that. And this is another thing that was a little different for me after using the other machines, was this thread take-up checks the tension down. Let me hold the spool up there so you can see. It checks it down, not up. So to get the thread into that take-up lever, I have to go down first, and that's what this little chrome arm, you see, with the hole coming out and coming down. Some people call it the duck head, I guess, because it looks like an eye with a long bill, but it has to go under that before it goes up to the take-up. And this piece, which is new to me, I haven't seen that on my other machines, is called a slack thread regulator. And they make quite a point about saying you don't take the thread through the hole for normal sewing. You take it underneath the slack thread regulator. And then we're going to go up to the take-up lever. And we have to thread that from the right to the left. Okay. Ta-da! Oh, make sure under there. Okay. So let me back out a little bit here. And I've got plenty of thread pulled out now to go all the way down to the needle. So I'm going to put the foot down, which will put tension on this thread, because I want you to see, as I'm pulling that thread, you see that tension spring is working. See? So it's coming from the top, between the tension disc, and then into the loop of the take-up spring, over that loop, down under the slack thread regulator, up and through the eye of the take-up lever from the right to the left. Now as we're coming down, there is a small thread guide right on the faceplate, just above the thumb nut. It's right in the middle. So you go from behind that and you pull it towards you, and the thread will go back there and pop in. Okay. Then we're going to keep working our way towards the needle, and down here on the bottom of the face, or the nose, there is a wire here, a wire thread guide, and it just goes in behind there like that. The wire thread guide is screwed to the back here, and it's open in the front towards you, so you just slide the thread in there like that. Okay, and then I'm going to thread the needle, and it threads from the left towards the right as you're looking at the machine. Okay, yippee. So I'm just going to go back and check my coming through the tension disc and over the check spring and under the slack thread regulator and through the take-up lever. Good. So I've got both threads kind of here in position now. I got my bobbin thread right down here. See? Yep. Threaded the bobbin case. Got that, but I'm not quite ready to sew because I need to lift up the presser foot, but I need to get this bobbin thread up the hole above the feed dog and below the needle. I can't make a lock stitch with it over here. I need to bring it up the hole, and that's called bringing up the bobbin thread. So I got to go back here real quick because I forgot to tighten my stop motion screw. So hold the hand wheel, turn that back to tighten it. Yep. Because I need to turn the hand wheel towards me by hand while I'm holding that needle thread, a little bit of tension on it, and then that's going to go around the hook, wrap around that bobbin thread, and then I can pull it up. Well, there it goes. Okay, so I'll go under there and can take like a, let me get the needle up a little bit higher. There we go. Can you see that thread right there? I pulled up the bobbin thread. There we go. So now I have two. I have the thread from my needle and the thread from the bobbin, and it's coming up the hole through the needle plate or throat plate. So that's winding the bobbin, threading the needle properly, and bringing up the bobbin thread through the needle plate. Now, get set up here, and I'll show you the tension control and the feed control, and we'll just do a little stitch. Okay, get this position. Well, let me show you some controls first. For the upper tension, it's usually around a 3 or a 4 for most sewing. So when you turn this knob left, it's less tension, like I'm at 0. And as you turn it to the right, it's going to put more and more tension on the tension disc and put more and more tension on the needle thread. And I'll just put it on about 3.5, I guess. And because you want your upper tension of the needle thread to match the lower tension of the bobbin thread, so you get a nice lock stitch that's formed between the layers of the fabric, not on the top or the bottom. Now this is the feed system for the 99K, and it's like dozens of vintage Singer sewing machines where this lever going up and down sets the feed. And by the feed we mean how far the feed dog pulls the fabric between the strokes of the needle bar. So if I loosen this all the way left, then I can move it up and down freely, and all the way down it's got a little number 6 over here, and on this side it has a number chart, and I've got like a little pin that sticks out that matches my lever, so it's very easy to see. If I say I want to sew 8 stitches per inch, I set that on 8. Now you can turn this and lock in 8 if you want. You don't have to do that to sew, but there is an advantage. If you're going to be doing some reverse feed, meaning bringing the fabric towards you, like sewing in reverse to end a seam or something like that, it's nice once you set your forward stitch length, in this case 8, it's nice if you do turn that knob just until it touches the faceplate there. You don't have to tighten it and scratch everything. Just snug that up until you feel the resistance of the plate, because then if you want to reverse on this machine, you just go up and it's going to reverse, and when you want to go back forward, you just put it down and it's going to stop where you set it. So that's nice. If you don't set this and you go in reverse and then you come back down, you really gotta watch it here to make sure you get back to where to the stitch length you were using, so that your stitch will look uniform on your project. So that's what that little lock twist is. It allows you, without even looking over here, and you can go in reverse on the fly while you're sewing. You can just come to the end of the seam and then say, whoop, go up, reverse it for 3 or 4 stitches, and then back down without even looking over here. Okay, so let's set it on 8, and we got our tension. We'll just start with that, and then I've got a piece of fleece here. I had to find something black because I realized I had white bobbin thread and white needle threads, so I'm going to put my fabric here, allowing for my seam allowance, and I'm going to drop the pressure foot, right? And I'm going to check my pressure on that pressure foot. This controls how hard the pressure foot pushes down on the fabric. When you turn it to the right, it's more and more pressure on that foot. When you turn it to the left, it's less. So if you have slippery or thick fabrics, you want more pressure. Denim, canvas, leather, If you're going something like silk or something very delicate, wow, you want a lot less pressure. And of course, if you're going to darn by hand and stuff, you don't want any pressure, because you're going to be free handing it, so to speak. So I'm just going to turn it down about halfway, and one way I check it is just I pull on the fabric a little bit. If it starts sliding out, I figure I need a little more tension, and this doesn't. So I'm okay. I'm going to try it. So length set on 8, tension about 3.5. I'm just going to start sewing, and we'll see how it goes. Alright. Now I'm going to throw my reverse lever up. Well, let me come to the end of a seam, I guess would be more normal. Okay, then I'm going to throw my reverse lever and sew backwards a little bit, and then throw it down the lever so I can finish my seam to the front. Okay, with the needle in the fabric, I'll lift my presser foot, turn the corner, drop it back down. I'm in forward sewing. Go ahead. Now, normally you want to stop with the take-up lever all the way up. You want to start and stop sewing with this all the way up, because then your needle will be out of the fabric. Okay, but I'm just going to peek at my, I'll show you the lock stitch in a little bit, but I just wanted to make sure the tension looked good. Now I'm going to make the tension a lot, or the stitch a lot longer. I'm going to make it as long as I can. So I put it all the way down. It's about 6 per inch. The tension I think is okay, but I want to put less pressure on it this time. Let's see how we look here. Because one thing about these old vintage straight stitch machines is that you can sew some pretty curvy stuff here. I'm using my hand to press the foot pedal, so I've got to sew with one hand, but let's see how we do. And you can sew in reverse that way. Let me just quit playing around here, and I'll sew it off with a forward number 6 length. Okay. So I've ended with my take-up lever up. I've raised up my presser foot. Raising the presser foot takes tension off the thread, so I can pull out here. No problem. I can cut that, and let's see if we can look at some of these stitches. Pretty Singer stitches, huh? Oh, good. Those are showing up pretty good on this cloth here, aren't they? Let's look at the reverse side. And the stitching looks even there too. So it looks like the lock stitch is balanced. You know, I don't have the top thread laying on the bottom or vice versa. So, okay, I can fold this over, I guess, if I wanted to, and put it under there, and I could go to a stitch like really super fine, like about 30 stitches per inch. Look at that, way up there. Whee! Wow. That would be some really fine tailoring stitch, wouldn't it? Okay. And the reason Singer talked about starting with the take-up lever up here is because really the needle is on the downstroke into the fabric. And then you don't have to hold on to the tails of your thread. You hear a lot of people say, hold on to those tails so you don't lose them when you start your stitch. Okay. But there's several references by Singer. You start up here. They never mention anything about holding those two tails just to start. And let's do some really fine stitch here and see how it goes. Guess I could reverse it back away from the and finish back up at the end there. Okay, let's see how this looks. Let's do the heck of it. Oh. Man, that is like, I think the tension is too much. Look, it pulled the, that's like an invisible seam, isn't it? it pulled the thread right into the center. Well, it means it's balanced at least. You see it in there. Oh, look how you like that. That's like an invisible seam. Woo. Maybe a little less tension, huh? Let me run one right next to that and lighten up on that tension and see if we can get it to show a seam. I don't think so. I think let me go down to about 20 stitches per inch here, maybe. Boy, that was something, huh? On a, I guess on a fleece, that actually might kind of look kind of cool to be able to sew it without showing a seam. This one you can see a little bit of the seam in there. Not much. Okay. Sorry, I'm just having fun. You probably quit watching about 10 minutes ago, right? That is how to wind the bobbin and thread the needle and bring up the bobbin thread, and the basic setting of thread tension and stitch length and presser foot or presser bar tension up there, and how to release the stop motion knob by turning it left so only the hand wheel turns, and how to set it back by clamping it to the right so that now the needle bar and feed dog wheel move, right? Thanks for tuning in and watching Cute, the Singer Model 99. I hope you come back and see me. I'm making a little playlist for this Model 99, and I always start with the tour of the machine and then how to wind a bobbin and thread the needle for people who are not familiar with the model, like me. Take care. See you next time.